Thank you for joining us. So lovely to
us.
have you both on stage.
Likewise.
Heck yeah.
Welcome
God,
to
you
Cleveland.
guys are so mysterious out there.
I
love
know, the
it.
lights are so bright on
Yeah.
this stage, you can't see anyone.
We're used to that.
We are alone on this stage
Yeah.
for all we know.
That's why a lot of musicians, you hear that they fall and they get injured because you really can't see very well. Everyone thinks we're like clumsy.
No.
But that's not it.
They think
Did
you're
you fall
feeling the
last night?
music.
No, I've never fallen. Charlie fell once. But yeah, like because these lights are so bright and you can't see.
They really don't help that they make the speakers black and the stage black as well. So, yeah.
It looks better that way. So.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Speaking of musicians, you had a concert here last night. How did it go? Were you there? Yeah?
I didn't mess it up.
There you go. You didn't fall.
Or I only messed it up enough, just like that much.
No one noticed.
because-
No one noticed. Well, make some noise if you were there. Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing your multiple talents here with us.
Yeah.
Is it y'all's first time in Cleveland? No. You've been here many times. Have you been able to go out this time and do things, or you usually stick to the? Sometimes with conventions, you see your booth, you see the green room, you see the stage, and you see your hotel bed. You're stuck. Yeah. Have you been able to go out at all?
I am of the opinion that the best thing happening in Cleveland this weekend is right here and
There,
right
I
now.
agree.
And yeah, like in times past, I've gone out. I went to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Sure.
I was with my buddy Mark, and we were messing with him, and we kept asking him, "Where's REO Speedwagon, man?" But no. So yeah, I like to like party here, and then go back and rest, and then party for the next day. And do it that way. Yeah.
I party, period. Party during the day, party at night. I didn't party. I did find, though, during, on the way to dinner last night, we went to Red and had a nice little meal there and a little champagne. And then on the way there, in the alley area, I found a restaurant called Cordelia's.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
That's fun.
It was called I took a picture. It's on my social media if you catch it. It's on the mycon.live, mycon Instagram account. But anyway, that was really cute.
That
And
is cute.
I popped in. I wanted to go there, but they're like, private event, sorry.
Do they know?
Cordelia.
They should
I
know
told
that it's
them.
your
I told them.
restaurant.
I'm like, I was on a TV show once, and my character's name was Cordelia. Oh, that's great. Bye.
Can't come in.
You guys need to take a video of this right now, send it to Cordelia's, and be like, big mistake you made. Horrible mistake.
No.
They'll call you. They'll be like, we want to sponsor you.
Yeah,
Free meal
I'm
for the
on
rest of life.
I'm on the plane as soon as this is over, so the window has closed.
Maybe next time in
Oh my God,
Cleveland.
scary clowns.
Hello, scary clowns.
Santa clown.
Well, obviously, we're here to talk about Buffy.
Yeah.
I would love to know how that journey started for you with the auditions, how that happens for you both.
It was a journey, literally. To the first audition I had was with, I believe, Marcia Schulman, the casting director, Gail Berman, and Joss Whedon. And I remember exactly what I was wearing. I don't know if you remember in the 90s, I had these jelly flip-flops, bright orange flip-flops with like overalls and like a baby tee. And I was auditioning for Buffy. It was like this big monologue, which was incredible. And I did it, and they loved it. They just thought maybe I would be better for Cordelia, so they asked me to go into the hallway and quickly memorize those lines. And so I did, which I normally would be terrified about doing, but I think it kind of takes the pressure off. There's no time as an actor to get neurotic about your dialogue. It's like sink or swim, adapt or die, like make it work. And I think that kind of worked in my favor. And then later, I was asked or invited to come to the producer session. And back then, it was kind of great because you could find out probably that day if you have a job for the next 7 years. But now there's like a whole other rigmarole processes and
Zoom
time
calls.
waiting just like several people that have to sign off on you. Like before, it was just the producers and like the network, but they were usually in one session together. But now it's like all strung out with the studio and then the network, and then you have to come back again, and it's terrible. Or they put you on hold for 2 weeks before they tell you if you got the job. Back then in the 90s, it was just so, the decision makers were in the room, and I really do appreciate that. I did then. So I had already been on a job. I was on an NBC show with Aaron Spelling called Malibu Shores. So I had to go to my producer session for Buffy, which is very unusual that a TV show would even want to deal with you if you have another show, because that show then gets first right of refusal to your schedule and all access to you. So whatever the case, I had my audition. It was in deep Burbank. It was at the ranch. But I was shooting Malibu Shores in Long Beach, and I don't know if anybody from Los Angeles is in the room. You know. An hour and a half. No, it's a day. It's a day travel. It was rush hour. It was raining, and I was like finally making my way up 710 to the 101 and then getting off on Barham, and I'm getting these beeps before I can get to the exit on Barham to go down the Barham, around to Riverside, and out to the ranch. And as I'm approaching the exit, 911 from my agent, 911 from my agent, and I pull off, which is like, you know, I don't have time for this, like what's going on? So I call my agent from a payphone at a liquor store right there on Barham at the exit of 101 and Barham. And I said, what's going on? And they're like, they're hungry, they want to leave, how much longer? And I'm like, you tell them I have traveled a day to be at this audition. Tell them to order a pizza or something, like handle it. I'm coming. Like I'm right now at Barham. I will be there like in 20 minutes or less. And they're like, she's like, okay. So I go in and I meet with Garth, who is the head of the network, and Joss. It was just the two of them. They have me go off, I read, they have me stand by, go to, you know, that's usually a good sign of like, can you hang around for a minute? I'm like, sure. They put me in a room with a phone, and I call my agent. And I said, hey, Wendy, I got the part. And they're like, she's like, you don't know that. And I said, I do know that. And she's like, don't say, like, and I'm like, all right, okay, bye. And I hang up, and then I go back in the room, and I read again, and I could just tell, like, they loved it. And so then I get back in my car, my little Nissan Sentra, no radio, no air conditioning, nothing, like two windows, 40 miles an hour air conditioning. So I go back over the hill, and I get another beep, and I'm like, oh my God. So then I get home, and it's my agent. She calls me, and she's like, you got the job.
And you said, I told you so.
I did tell her that. I did say I told you. How Cordelia was that, though, right? Like, wait for me. You are going to
handle it.
Like, how many
so
hours
Cordelia.
did you work?
Get a pizza. I'm coming.
I'm coming. Yeah. Like, handle your hunger. But what's so funny is that, you know, so often as an actor, like you're sick, you go to work, it does, rain or shine, no matter what it is, you're there until you're done working, right? Like they tell you when you're done. And I felt like in that moment, like you're not done working, you know, like you still have casting to do, and I am on my way, so you must stand by and wait for me.
Yeah, yeah.
That's my story.
Yeah, I was not getting anyone to wait for me when I got. I had just gotten to Los Angeles from Seattle. I was doing theater in Seattle and just had a son, and I realized when I'm watching my son get wiped off on the birthing table, and this voice comes into my head going, "You need to try to make money now. You have decided to be a poor actor, and you've loved that, and go prostitute yourself in Los Angeles immediately."
Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do.
So I came down, and I'd already done a couple of guest spots up in Seattle, and so I had a couple of guest spots going on, and that was going nicely. And then they called me. I found out later that they'd been looking for Spike for a while, and they hadn't found anybody that they liked enough. And they were, I think, when they cast me, we had 3 days before we started filming, so they were panicking. Yeah. And I think what must have happened is they put the word out to scrape the bottom of the barrel, like just throw anything at us, because I don't think I didn't have a big resume. Like I came to Los Angeles thinking I had a big resume, and my resume is all theater. And I was like, check out my resume. I've done Macbeth at the Intimate Theater. Thank you very much. And I realized they don't care about that at all, for good reason. And so I auditioned, and I remember I was so arrogant at this point because I really thought that theater acting was everything and television. I'm just here to make money. You're lucky I'm here. And so I remember at the callback thinking that I was going to really freak out the competition by doing Macbeth monologues to the wall. Okay. I didn't freak anyone out. They just thought, who let him in? Like, who's the psychotic?
They had to have been impressed, though.
I was doing it to the wall.
Yeah,
no one,
that's
you
true.
know. So they don't care. This is ridiculous. But yeah, I remember meeting Juliet Landau, and she was from the theater too. And so we bonded right away. And I found out later that I was really just basically her boy toy in the beginning. Like the whole idea was that Buffy and Spike sleep together. This is the season, right? Buffy and Spike, they finally sleep together. Buffy and Angel sleep together. Thank you. And Angel goes evil, kills me immediately, and Drusilla dumps Buffy for Drusilla, and that's the new girlfriend. So that Buffy can have her heart broken. It's the whole point of what we're doing. And so they only built me up to be a villain so that when Angel killed me off, that he was a new big bad. Yes. And I only got cast because Juliet liked me. Like if it was, the whole day was just finding an actor that she clicked with. Yeah. And if we hadn't clicked, I wouldn't be here right now. So I owe it all to Juliet.
She was cast first?
Yeah, oh yeah, she was cast way first.
And you had a chemistry read?
Like they wrote it for her. Yeah.
I've never heard that.
Yeah, yeah.
Learning things on this stage today.
But also I think like your Shakespearean background would have been impressive to Joss because he's got a big Shakespearean background.
Yes, yeah. And his favorite writer is Shakespeare. So yeah, that probably helped in that.
Buffy
but I
is
didn't know
nothing but Shakespearean themed.
Yep. Actually.
Cordelia.
And one of the things I love so much about Buffy is the theme, which is taken from Hamlet. And Hamlet's known as the best work of Western literature, and a lot of it is because of the theme. And Hamlet's about a teenager. He's 18 years old when we meet him, and he's old enough at 18 to see the world clearly, which we all do at 18 or a little before, and it's very, very difficult. We get disillusioned and depressed because the world is really, really not perfect. Hamlet's world is horrifying, like his uncle kills his dad, who's the king, and his mother takes up with the uncle. Like this is about as messed up as you can get. And he has to decide whether he's going to give up on himself or on the world, or if he's going to take arms against the sea of troubles by opposing in them. And it's basically an argument against teen suicide, Hamlet, because the to be or not to be speech is a teenager turning to the audience and going, hey guys, I'm thinking of killing myself, just so you know. This world is too painful for me to be here, and I need help, so you guys are old. Why didn't you guys kill yourself? In fact, why don't we just do it now? Anybody? As far as I can tell, the only reason we don't do that is because we're just afraid of death. Is that all there is? Really? And what's delicious is the audience is forced to abandon him in that moment because they're not allowed to talk. So he's just left hanging, And then you watch him make the right decision and save his kingdom, even though it costs him his life, and take arms. The problem with Hamlet is it is meant for people in their 30s, 40s, and 50s years old who, we all need that message, don't give up, but especially teens. And the glorious thing about Buffy is it took that theme and mainlined it for teenagers. And that's why I love it. So yeah, maybe that helped a little bit.
So doing Macbeth to the wall, everybody else was playing chess. You were playing checkers because you were like, Buffy is Shakespeare. I will do Macbeth to the wall.
No, man.
You're not giving yourself enough credit.
I didn't know that at the time. And when I go back, I went back recently and watched some Buffy, and I think it's season 2, I'm too big. You can tell that I'm a stage actor not having quite figured out how to dial it down for film. And I got away with it because he was a vampire. If I'd have been playing a human being, I don't know if I'd have had a career, but I got away with it.
You did great.
Yeah, it is a different medium. It is interesting to, even from feature film to television to stage, it is a different medium.
To piggyback on being like overacting and being vampire, you probably had to do a lot of stunts with this show too. Do you remember what that process was like? Do you have any stunts that specifically stand out to you? They had a lot of like effects that they did, practical effects, which I always found interesting about the show.
I mean, I know what you're going to already say. No, I mean, tell it this story that you say about like the stunt actor or the stunt men going, "Hey, can I get my check?"
Oh, that one, yeah. Yeah, so again, coming from stage, you don't get a stunt man. There are no stuntmen in theater. You are the stuntman. So when I come down to Los Angeles, they're like, "We're going to let Steve do this." I'm like, "No, you're not. I can do that." You know? And again, very arrogant, not understanding that in Hollywood you do stunts on concrete.
Yeah, true.
On stage, it's wood, and that's like a trampoline compared to concrete. And there's a whole different level of pain when you do that. But yeah, I used to tell stunt coordinators when I start working with them, I'd go like, green belt? No, black belt? Green belt? Boom. Which means that if you have me in close-up, I can look like Bruce Lee. I look badass in close-up. If you have me waist up and it's meat and potato stuff, I can get everything done for you. It's all good. If you want me full body, doing triple kicks or bouncing off walls, go get Steve Tartaglia. He's the other guy. He's a stunt spike. You know? And so a lot of, this was back, Matrix had just come out, but the thing is that they didn't want Matrix-y stuff. They didn't want a bunch of wire work for the fights. So it was a lot of basic moves. It wasn't as fancy as other stuff that was going on. And Spike especially was not, they didn't want him to be like kung fu vampire. It was really straight ahead street fighting, which is more the kind of meat and potato stuff that I could do. So I did a lot of my own stunts, and what you were talking about is one day Steve came up to me and he goes, "James, the stunt crew, we are all very impressed that you like to do so many stunts. I mean, really, super cool. But just so you know, if I get in one shot per episode, my pay doubles. Just putting it out there."
So if you could take a break and let me shoot a scene.
Sorry. Yeah.
I mean, it's an economy. The whole set is an economy, and there isn't a lot of awareness. I know that was like my first. I was on a series at the same time with Buffy and Malibu Shores for a bit, but we didn't really have stunt. I did like a track scene but I did the running. That's not the same as stunts. So there wasn't a lot of education on my end. And when I learned that, it was like, of course, by all means, do that. It's such an interesting thing because the producers want you to do your own stunts to a certain degree because it makes the show look better if it's really you. But then at the same time, they don't want you to risk your life or get injured because then it costs them. So it's like a weird dichotomy between which scene or which shot will be you or be your stunt. And I do remember a couple of stunts, and I would always be all too happy to get in there and do it. I'm a scrappy girl. I can do Uganda. I can, camp and then I can do a red carpet. Like, I love that about, I'm game, I love that about me. I'm proud of that. But not at the expense of someone else. But I do remember one time having a stunt where I guess it's a stunt. We had to be kind of hog-tied, but it was just our ankles to a bar, and it was like me, Allison, and like a couple of other people, and I can't remember the name of the episode. I have a podcast now called The Bitch Is Back, so when I see that scene or that episode, I don't remember which one it is, I'll point it out, but we're literally, our ankles are hog-tied to this bar, and it's for hours, or it felt like hours, and they would take a pulley, so we would be resting our backs on a mat, but our feet were still strung. It would take too long to unstring, restring for every take. So we just had to keep standing by. So if we'd have a master, we'd have a close-up. So we were like our ankles were tied to this bar for a really, really long time. So they would pulley us in and we'd swing in, you know, and then they would do the shot and then they'd swing us, pulley us back, swing back, rest. But I couldn't feel my feet after a while. Like all the blood had gone from my feet. So yeah, it was like, yeah, we want you to do this, but then at the same time, then I'm like, this hurts. Can somebody else do this? This is painful.
Just light torture on set for a couple of hours,
Yeah.
I'd say.
You got to be smart.
Yeah.
Because you're right. The most important thing is that you show up the next morning to keep filming. You cannot get injured to the point. And I was an idiot. I wanted it all. And I remember there was one stunt where Spike, it was season 3, and he's drunk because Drusilla left him, and he falls asleep. He passes out outside, and he only wakes up in the morning when the sun lights his hand on fire. Yeah. And I wanted that. I wanted that gag. You wanted to light your hand on fire. Well, I thought it would be funny because I wanted the shot where Spike is asleep, and then the hand is in frame, and the hand goes up, and then he gets woken up, and he doesn't know what that is. Like, am I dreaming that? What is that? Oh, no. I thought that would be funny. So I kept trying to get it, and they're like, James, that is the most dangerous gag in all of Hollywood. It's called an unprotected burn. Most of the time when people are burning in film, it's their clothes that are on fire, not the person. So, no. And I kept going like, no, man, I got this idea in there. And finally they're like, okay, idiot.
You've asked for
You're
it.
only in one episode in the whole season. We'll just schedule that shot for the end. And then if you need to spend the rest of your life in a hospital, fine. We're done arguing about it. And they let me have it. And sure enough, I burned the living crap out of my hand doing that.
But was it worth it? Was it a good shot?
Yes,
It was a
it
good
was
gag?
worth
Okay, good. Good. That's
But
all
then
that matters.
I did a movie I think it was in Missouri, and I was playing a carpenter, and they wanted a lot of close-ups of me working, and my whole hand was just blisters. And the director was just like, what have you done to me?
We need a hand double,
Yeah.
a hand double on set.
Yeah.
Well, please, if anybody has any questions, you can go ahead and start lining up. I will keep y'all this whole panel. But I feel the audience would be so sad if they don't get to ask their questions. So go right ahead, introduce yourself, and ask your question.
Hi, oh, that's loud.
Rock and roll, baby.
Got
Get
it.
right up there.
Hi, I'm Steve from Erie, Pennsylvania. My question for both of you is, who was your favorite guest star to work with on Buffy, Angel, or both of them?
That's a great question. So many.
What was your name? Did you say Steve?
Yeah, yeah,
Steve
he knows.
in or Steven? Or
Either.
Steve? Huh?
I'm good with either.
What?
I'm good with either.
Okay. So this one guest star that I can think of off the top of my head is John Ritter. But I didn't get to have any scenes with him or work with him, so I was kind of like depressed about that. So I can't really think of anybody that really, really stands out in my mind. How about you?
I think he was recurring, but it was Nathan Fillion. Because A, he's an awesome dude, but B, he's Canadian. And at the point that he came into the show, I had injured myself so much over the years that I was really having back pain. And he gave me these Canadian pain pills, which are not legal here. They were magic, man. I was just like, I can film. Nathan, you've saved me. At which point he writes his brother, and his brother sends a bunch more down for me. And I was like, the season is saved, man. I'm good. Yeah, Nathan's
Brought to you
awesome.
by Canada.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you also got to work with Joel Grey in that one season.
Yes, Joel was fabulous. In fact, I remember telling Joel Grey, who, if anyone doesn't know Joel Grey, he was in Cabaret. Just an amazing actor. And I remember telling him, like, yeah, once this show is over, I can get back to being poor. and he looked at me and goes, oh, James, you're never going to be poor again. We know who you are now.
Nice.
And I've always remember that, yeah.
All right, thanks.
Great question. Thank you. Hi there. If you grab that part right there.
Yeah,
oh, perfect.
there we go.
Yeah,
No,
you
that's
can
good.
do
That's
it.
good.
You
That's
take
exactly
that
what
mic
you do.
off, girl. Go ahead.
I'm PJ, and I had a question. Who was your favorite character on Buffy? Like, if it was just their character on the show, like fictionally.
Oh, wow. That's a great question.
I honestly feel like you're my favorite character. I feel like Cordelia and Spike are so similar in the sense that we're very blurty and say the thing, but the way in which we say it is so colorful and entertaining. I love that about us. And I loved when we did Supernatural and we got to be the Starks.
Yeah.
I feel like we should have had a spin-off.
Someone was saying in line that they would still want us to have a spin-off.
I feel like we should
that
have a
would be
spin-off.
Awesome.
We need to have Eric Kripke handle that, but he's very busy with Boys or the new Boys. I auditioned for Boys copious times. I never was able to get cast on that show, but it is my dream, to work with him again. But I would love to revisit that role.
Because we didn't get a lot of scenes in Buffy. I didn't really have a dialogue with you until
We didn't have anything in
Supernatural.
Buffy. It was only Angel that we did. Yeah. You're welcome. Where you bit me. You tried to bite me. Or yeah.
Well, I do that.
Yeah. I'm like, wait, I thought you had redeemed yourself. What the heck? But yeah, I think Spike's my favorite character, to be honest with you. He's the most entertaining, most watchable, freewielder. Like, what's he going to do next? Kind of fun. It's entertainment on steroids.
Just to the side of that.
Yeah.
It was so easy doing Supernatural. I remember all of our scenes we would get in one take or two takes, and you know that it's working when it's easy.
Yeah.
And all this stuff that you're not aware of is happening, and that was working with you was just done. Yeah.
Except for when we had to do the
Romanian witch.
The dialogue.
Oh
God, we butchered that. It was so tough.
Well, they had us. We're doing a magic spell, right? And it's in Romanian, and they didn't give it to us until like a half hour before we're supposed to film. I'm like, guys, it's Romanian. Yeah.
No, they brought in a Romanian coach to help us with pronunciation, and it was so hard to grasp that, so hard. So then you're like, cue cards.
Yeah.
And they gave us cue cards.
Yeah.
But
that's
the first time I've ever had cue cards.
No, you don't need them if they give you the stuff to memorize. But if it's Romanian and it's 15 minutes, we'll just get the cue cards. Let's try it.
It's a big
It
ask.
wouldn't have mattered. Honestly, it wouldn't have mattered if I had a week. I just wouldn't have been able to do it. It was just so foreign. I just couldn't do it. But who's your favorite?
James, who's your favorite character?
I would have to say Buffy.
Oh, you're going to say Buffy.
Yeah. I think she's just so inspiring. I just love. I remember when I got told that we were going to be romantically paired, and that was a problem for me because I had come to think of Sarah as my sister. We'd already shot a lot together, and I just loved her, and she drove me crazy sometimes, as sisters do. And she loved me, and I drove her crazy, as brothers will do. And I was like, I'm going to be kissing my sister? Like, this is not. How am I going to do that? And I spent all summer trying to figure it out, and I couldn't do it. And we started filming that season, and I still hadn't figured it out. And then I'm on the set, waiting for Sarah to finish the previous scene where she's in the Burger Palace, Double Meat Palace, and she's got that weird hat on, and she's at the drive-thru, and she's getting abused by the people at the drive-thru, and she's trying to be nice about it, and it hit me. Oh my God, Buffy just came back from heaven, and she's back here, which probably feels like hell. And now she's got this daughter, well, it's her sister, but the mother's gone, so now she's got to be the mom to this sister. She's the Slayer, which is like Superman, but she's got to go get a burger job to pay the bills. And she's getting abused, and she's still being nice. And I was like, oh my God, I just fell in love with Buffy. And I'm sitting there on the set, and I'm just like this. And Sarah comes up to me, she's like, what? It's the hat, right? James, everyone's making fun of me today. I didn't think you too. And she got really sad and she walked away and I was like, I can't even tell her. I can't even tell. I just fell in love with you, man. But yeah, it'd be Buffy. Yeah.
Great question. Thank you. Hi there.
Hi. So I have a question about the prosthetics that you wore. So what was like the general feel of it, because I know prosthetics can get like really like hot and sweaty sometimes.
Yeah, they're just not. Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
like how did
if the
that
prosthetic is covering the back of your head, especially if it's a full head, then that can get really hot. I've worn those, and that's not comfortable. But this was just basically a Robin mask, and it was foam latex, which made it very light and very pliable, so it moved with your face. So once they put it on me, I would forget that it was on. And to tell you the truth, the only person to get an Emmy on Buffy was the makeup artist, Todd McIntosh. And he was a freaking genius. And it took us 20 minutes. He could do that thing in 20 minutes. We lied to production and told them it was a half hour because production will always if you tell them 20 minutes, then they get crushed for time and they'll try to get you to do it in 15 or 10. And Todd, when they would do that to him, he would start throwing things at the third AD. Get out of my trailer, you moron! And so he didn't want to get fired, so we lied and said half an hour, and then they would pressure us and we'd go to 20 minutes when necessary. But most of the time, we would just do it in 20 minutes and drink tea and talk for the last 10.
Great
Thank
question. Thank you. Hi there.
Hi, my name's Amanda.
Hey.
My question's kind of a little lengthy, but if Buffy had passed in season 1, if she wasn't brought back and Kendra didn't make it, do you think that Spike would have fallen in love with Faith? And do you think would Cordelia have liked Faith better than Buffy?
I think Cordelia would have been the new Slayer. Yeah.
I want to know why you think that. Is it because it's the most unlikely choice?
No, because you were such an awesome Slayer in Slayers.
Oh, but that was 25 years later. We didn't know that
They're
then.
good writers. They could have worked that
I mean,
in.
I love
think,
that idea. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if Buffy had not gone, or if she had, what is the question? If she had died and never come back, and the series continued without Buffy.
Yeah, and Kendra was killed, and then there's Faith. Faith was the third.
Right.
It would Cordelia have liked Faith better than Buffy, and would Spike have fallen in love with Faith instead, since he would have never met Buffy?
I mean, she's pretty crushable, right?
Yeah. They just seemed like a really good pair, and you like Cordelia.
Maybe we'd team up and be lovers. Who knows?
Yeah.
The fan fiction
Maybe
writers
she'd
get
teach
on
me
this
how to
right
be a
now.
I was very poor at the time, and I would have done what they told me.
Thank you for your question.
Yeah.
Hi there.
Hi. I guess, what have you viewed as one of your biggest challenges as an actor or actress, be it on Buffy or in any of your other acting endeavors?
That's a really good question. I think one of the great things about being an actor is that I get to explore sides of myself that I couldn't safely explore in life. Because the truth is that a lot of people have this misnomer about acting. They think that actors are good liars, and exactly the opposite is true. Bad acting is about lying. It's about putting on a false face, but it's horrible. Good acting is about finding the things that you share with that character and then living in that truth. So having played a lot of villains, I've had to really come to terms with weird ideas, like the Spike. So Spike is a character, we meet him, and he's having an absolute blast slaughtering innocent people. And if you're going to do that for real, then I had to get to a place where I could admit to myself that I could have a blast slaughtering innocents, which is not something that I wanted to admit. And luckily, I just come from a Macbeth in Seattle, where I was playing a professional warrior, and so I did a lot of research into warrior psychology. And one of the things I read was that the truth is, when you're on the battlefield and you kill someone, it's actually really exhilarating. There's probably a voice saying, only one of us was going to walk away from this, pal, and it's me. Thank you very much. There's probably an old predator voice in the human psyche that enjoys the hunt, or whatever it is. It's a human reaction that is exhilarating. And a lot of soldiers, unless they can get professional help when they come back, they don't ever realize that it's not just them who had that reaction. They oftentimes can come back thinking that they're sick or broken. and that they need help to realize that there's nothing wrong with that, right? So I had come to this place where I knew that it could be exhilarating killing people, but that would have been on the battlefield. So it was a smaller hill for me to get over and just accept that it might be exhilarating to kill innocent people too. It sounds so weird. It's so weird. But that was not easy. What about for you?
I have crippling anxiety. And when I feel like I'm not safe or I'm not in a supportive environment, there's like, I get flooded. And it was a constant in my life. So I went to great pains to remember my lines. So I read a lot of psychology books as well. I read, it's called Super Learning, this book about memorization. But what I realized, it wasn't that I wasn't capable, or I didn't have the aptitude to memorize. I'm a pretty intelligent person. It was activated through anxiety. And what happened it would just go out of my brain. Like I studied the lines, I wrote the lines, I would recite the lines with my teacher, and then I would toss a pillow. I did all sorts of activities to get it in there so that under stress, I would still be able to perform. And sometimes that was super effective. Most of the time it was, but sometimes it wasn't. And those days were very painful. Like, nobody would be harder. I can get emotional just talking about it. Nobody would be harder on me than me. Yeah. But it was painful for the crew too, right? Because these people are working insane hours. So it would take a lot to overcome that. And so that's what I did. And what's so ironic about this is that those lines are so in my mind still, because they were committed to long-term memory by those processes. So often I'll be like on my podcast. I had a live event, a live taping of my podcast last month, or in July. What month are we? Where the girls were all like, I don't remember any of my dialogue. And I remember all of my dialogue, but because I committed it to my long-term memory. So Julie was talking about on my podcast how she has great short-term memory. And I have good memory, like if I'm not under pressure. But I was just so sensitive and so vulnerable, and it just so often being on the spot or being under the regimen of a time clock and getting it all done and getting it in one take and all of those things. It took a lot of years and being a seasoned actor to kind of get comfortable with that. Yeah. And I don't think I'll ever recover from that. Like, I just think that that's just my axe to bear. And so I just work really, like, I have to work really hard to remember things.
You're like Robert De Niro.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know this.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Like, just to back up for a second, I used to, you have these gag reels for the rap party, and it's all the people messing around and messing their lines up or whatever and having fun. And I was never on these gag reels. And I finally went up to the producer, I was like, why am I never on the gag reels? And they're like, well, I'll tell you, but you don't want to know. I'm like, I want to know. It's because you're boring. And I'm like, what? And it's like, James, you do the same thing every time. They say, cut. You look down to make sure you're on your mark. Then you march back to your seat. You pick up your script, and you go over your lines. And you're like that every time. You're like a machine, but it's boring for a gag reel. When we call action, you're very interesting, so keep doing what you're doing, but you're not a gag reel guy. So that I would just study my lines all the time. Ridley Scott said once that you should know your lines well enough that you can't say them wrong. I wanted to be like, Ridley, when 1 million people are staring at you, it's very difficult to not say your lines wrong occasionally, okay? But I was listening to this interview with Charles Grodin, who did a movie with Robert De Niro. Great movie. Midnight Run. And
Required watching.
Right? And apparently they bonded because they had the same idea, which is the most important thing they could do is memorize their lines. And so they would as soon as a cut was called, they would go back to their chairs and they would run lines with each other. Not the acting, just the words. So that when they got in front of a camera and all of that pressure, and the lens is 1 million people or more staring at you, and that's not comfortable to be stared at like that, that they could do it. And they become fast friends because, like, not every actor is like you, or me, or Robert De Niro, or him.
I mean, I went to a psychiatrist about it. Like, I need help. And the psychiatrist was not helpful. He literally said, you may want to de-invest and like just maybe choose a different career or do something else. And like, I know this about me, like, because it's hard, I'm not afraid to work hard. I'm not afraid to commit myself to it. In fact, I run towards the hard stuff. I know our time is up, right?
It is, yes, but I don't want to cut y'all off.
But I
of
feel like
this
you're leaning
story.
in.
No, not at all. I know you have
sorry.
a flight, so I want to be conscious
No,
of
it's
that.
okay. I'll just
we
wrap
have
this up.
we have run over time if y'all would like to stay.
Is it by that much? Oh my
No,
God.
no.
Okay, so just to wrap it up, which is just that the psychiatrist literally said, just de-invest. And that was not the psychiatrist for me, because that is not how I'm made. I'm no half-stepper. I'm going to dig deeper. I need to solve it. I need the tools to overcome this. I don't need to de-invest in what I love to do. How do I get through it? That's what I needed. And obviously he was fired.
And that's great that you could recognize that. And we could all say that we're very happy
Guys,
that you didn't de-invest.
Thank you for
Well,
You're
unfortunately, that is our time. Yes, please, one more round of applause for Charisma Carpenter and James Marsters, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us.